Is International Anti-Corruption Day. This is a day that was set after the passage of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in 2003 to raise public awareness against corruption. I thought it's important to let you know about this day because it's very critical. In Uganda, according to a report by the Inspectorate of Government, we lose over 10 trillion shillings per year to corruption. No wonder we have got ailing hospitals and health centers, dilapidated schools, broken roads, and poor service delivery in general. Because the money that is meant to fix these issues is stolen by people in government. And so it's important that we continue to raise awareness, public awareness against corruption, especially on a day as critical as this one, the International Anti-Corruption Day. We must all in unison be able to condemn corruption in all its forms, regardless who commits it. There are many people in government that do that, many public officials, many civil servants, and for us in the opposition, we must be aware to operate as carefully as we possibly can, so that we have the moral authority to speak about corruption. Otherwise, when our hands are dirty, we then do not have the moral authority to speak about corruption. But when we ensure that we do what is right, we're able to be the moral conscience of the public.
We are here to say to General Museveni that no amount of coercion, no amount of oppression, no amount of impunity will stop the people of Uganda from seeking better. And yes, no amount of intimidation will stop us from offering leadership to these people until we get to a country that we want to live in. Friends, so many dictators have done exactly, or even worse, to their people like Museveni has done to the people of Uganda. But history has taught us that they ultimately come crumbling down when people don't give up. From the dictators that we've seen in history, and yesterday it was Assad of Syria who has oppressed the people of Syria, him and his family, for more than 50 years. They came crumbling down yesterday. So yesterday, Assad in Syria, and hopefully tomorrow it will be Museveni in Uganda. We ask the people of Uganda never to give up on hope, to keep fighting for what they rightly deserve, to keep pushing for liberation, because there's no doubt that their freedom is very soon coming. I want to thank you all for listening to me. Dr. Kizza Besigye's charges and Ajobedi Kamulegeya's charges be dropped, and if they can't be dropped, let them at least be charged in a civilian court, because they are civilians. We demand that those charges, those bogus charges, be dropped against them. And I mean, looking at common sense, even if Dr. Kizza Besigye and his colleague were found with guns in Kenya, how does that become a monopoly? How do those guns become a monopoly, or even the business of the Ugandan military? We are aware that these charges in the court-martial are meant to intimidate, coerce, and ultimately subdue the people of Uganda and their leaders, to stop them from challenging the corrupt system, the corrupt criminal regime of General Museveni. When we speak about the oppression and the injustice in military courts, ladies and gentlemen, we don't just talk about it as academic knowledge. This is lived experience. We've been through it, and so many Ugandans continue to go through it. The court-martial has been turned into a tool of oppression by General Museveni, because he has full control of it. He decides who gets charged in the court-martial, what charges are preferred against that person, and who does or doesn't get bail from the court-martial. He uses it to punish and intimidate his opponents, and we condemn that. Remember that I was personally charged before the same court, the military court, and the regime presented 2 machine guns, claiming that they were found in my hotel room in Arua. Of course, eventually, the guns disappeared, and out of both international and local pressure, the charges were dropped. Recently, all of us saw with shock how the regime forced and coerced some of our comrades to accept the offenses that they never committed. It was such a travesty of justice, and we call upon all Ugandans of good conscience to condemn it and continue condemning it. The National Unity Platform have been the biggest victims of these kangaroo courts before, during, and after the elections of 2021. Over 2,000 of our members and supporters were abducted and detained on the orders of either the unit disciplinary committees or the division court-martials or the general court-martial. Most of them were charged with ridiculous trumped-up charges of being found with military stores, literally referring to our red berets and red overalls. As we speak today, very many of them are still languishing in prison, 4 years and some more, without trial.
We are here as the opposition in solidarity over critical issues, one of which is the continued persecution of members of the opposition, supporters of the opposition, and now increasingly leaders within the opposition. This cannot continue to happen, and we look on as if it is okay. It is not okay.
Finally, I am charging.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome.